I'm Jose Pablo de Luna, and I'm going to present the intercultural differences between the Americans and French people. What are the main differences, and how can both have a good and effective communication? Well, first, uh, let's begin with the cultural differences. Well, the dates. The French place first the day, month, and then the year, while the Americans place the month first. And this could be very confusing if you are planning or booking a reunion of business or something. Then the French study at least two or three languages, while Americans only English with an option of Spanish. Well, all French study two or three languages because they're around of other countries where they speak other languages, and in America it's like just having the option of Spanish and I guess also of French. And then the measurement systems such as grams, liters, meters, etc. And in America, they use yards, miles, pounds, and Fahrenheit. This also be very confusing if you travel to France. The issue of dating and relationships is something very peculiar in France. They are very liberal compared to Americans, who sees a relationship as something serious, perhaps because of the issue of religion. Also, the issue of smoking, something very common in France, where they sometimes do it to drink or to eat, and in America is could be the opposite. I mean, they smoke, but not like all the time as French people. Okay, now are my suggestions for approaching an American. Well, speak English since they may know very few words of another language. As I said before, they just learn English and a little bit of Spanish. Um, Try not to act in a passive way because Americans are characterized by being very active. Uh, Not to criticize their nation because they consider themselves very patriotic, and also not to criticize their way of living because also they get offended. Know their measurement systems, as I said before, and greet with a handshake is most common for men and for women. And now my tips for approaching a French is first the principle to learn their language because I mean they maybe they know English but they are very proud of their language, and more in Paris. I mean Paris, people from Paris say that they are not French, they're from Paris. So imagine their ego that they have. uh, Try not to go outside in pajamas or wearing sports clothes when you don't exercise because the French criticize very the dressing. Uh, Great with a kiss on the cheeks, or one in one cheek, the other in the other cheek. Uh, do not show too much emotion with people because in French are characterized by being more discreet, and also not to speak loud because they think that you're screaming. Do not overwhelm yourself with food or wine because the thing is to enjoy and have a good time when you have a reunion with a French. Uh, the challenges for American business people who visit France for their first time, uh, well, the communication, it will be appropriate for Americans to learn French, the the language could not be a barrier. And also, as I said before, the issue of etiquette and style on the part of the French is something to consider. And when choosing a location for a business meeting, you have to be very selective and consider your passions for food and wine because French are characterized by their wine and their culture of gastronomy. And now the challenges for French business people who visit the United States for the first time. Uh, Trying to feel more active than usual. As I said before, French are very passive, and Americans like people who show enthusiasm at work. Um, Also, at a business lunchtime, the French maybe uh, could be kind of offended or disappointed by the lack of American food culture because I mean they don't have like a really good gastronomic culture. I mean they say that French fries are from America, but the name says French fries, so they could be of French could be offended by this term. And also the language is not, it could be not a problem because, as I said before, French people and people from Europe are used to learn three languages at least. And my conclusion is, well, I consider that the main thing to be able to make a negotiation effective in another country is to study your client beforehand, from whether you have to learn their language to whether it bothers you if you grade him or not. All of these are factors that may or may not impair communication between both. They may not be able to reach a deal at the end, but because of the good attention that was given, the good deal, and that you knew how to understand it, generate a generate a bond between the two that can be an effective in the future. So thank you.